Hello, people. Hello, listeners. My name is Jacksona Soro, and I'm the executive director of Platform Africa, a refugee-led organization that is working in the domains of peace building. We also really love the approach of arts and music, especially for its, a power and leverage in building peace, but also like really expressing the diversity of culture and how that's an advantage to social cohesion. On this podcast, the Impact Radar, we bring change makers and we have conversations with them about the change that they're making. And on this episode today, I have a very, very interesting character. I have a guy who goes by the name Gifted Shem. He's a fashion designer, and I really I've wanted to talk to Gifted for a long time, right? And for me, it's because I have been told that I look like a homeless person. My dressing is really bad. I've been told that I look like a homeless person, but Gifted, it's really, really interesting to finally get to talk to you on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on the show.
You're welcome. Happy New Year. We met in Kopoko a few days ago.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It was New Year's on first.
Yeah, on first.
Yeah, we did meet, and then a few days ago, we we met as well.
This man is everywhere. So yeah, I've wanted to talk to you for some time about a bunch of subjects that I really feel like you could help me understand them better. One is the world of fashion. So first of all, I have no idea what fashion is, right? They've told me I look like a homeless person. Can you help us understand what is fashion and fashion design or fashion making?
All right. Thanks so much. When we talk about fashion and design, I always choose to talk about it in a way that is an expression of who you are. Yeah. In the way you dress. Yeah. And when we talk general about fashion and design, it's generally an expression, just like I said, of who you are. Yeah. And some people relate to culture and just giving an impression of who you want people to take you for. Okay. That is what we look into when we're looking at fashion and design. And then secondly, fashion is influenced by the community where you are, the people around you, and then what you believe, your beliefs influence. Just there are people who so much believe in wearing t-shirts. There are those that feel like they want to put on blazers. There are those that want jeans. So it all comes back to the influence and of the people around you and then what you believe. But then the person who said you look homeless, I think we will need to have another talk with him.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely think about suing that person. My second question is, so I don't know when we actually met with you. You think you're one of those few type of friends that when you meet them, you feel like you've known them for some time, right? When did we meet? Do you remember?
I think around 2021.
And that was in Juba, then.
Yeah.
In Juba, yeah. So we met, we clicked. It felt like we've known each other for years.
Sure.
But I sort of want to backtrack and talk about because, we're in Uganda right now. And I think most of us are here because of the war and the conflict.
Yeah.
And that pushed a lot of people to come to Uganda. I think you were in Uganda before you sort of went back to South Sudan.
Yeah.
Did you come in here as a refugee? What was that background like?
So literally I was born and raised in Uganda.
Okay.
My parents moved to Uganda. I don't remember which war that was, but then they fled to Uganda to seek refuge. And then as they were here in Uganda, they gave birth to me. I was born in Koboko, raised partly in Arua, and then up to around 2019, that was when I moved to Juba. But then I would say my whole life literally I was in Uganda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I want to talk about your fashion and your designs and your concepts that you have created. I mean, some of them are posted on your Facebook and social media platforms, and you recently hosted a show. We're going to talk about that later.
Okay.
But I want to ask about what does fashion look like in the South Sudan context? Because there's a really popular saying that art is basically mostly inspired by other pieces of art. Yeah. Now, South Sudan, we have a problem, right? We don't have Lady Gaga, we don't have Beyonce, we don't have the Vogue or the Kim Kardashians. Basically, the fashion icons that people look up to draw inspiration for their pieces. Now, you've talked about, fashion being like a form of expression. How does your experience, right, being living in Uganda, but also living in South Sudan, where there's basically no heritage? I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but it's not publicly documented. How does your fashion process look like when you're designing? What comes first?
Well, thanks so much. This takes me back to how people look at art. I remember one time I was having a chat with someone, and I was like, when we're growing up, if you tell your parents that you want to become an artist, they want to beat you. They feel like you don't know what you're doing. And me, I had this burning desire for art. I've always been telling people the first money that I've ever earned in my life was through art. I remember, like, as refugee kids, there was a need to draw the WFP logo, to be put on a bed seat, like how women do that. They call it dressing and stuff. Yeah. So they wanted someone who could trace or like draw the exact logo or something close to that. Yeah. And surprisingly, among a lot of kids, they had to select mine. I remember that time I was given 2,000 Ugandan shillings, and it was a lot of money. I had to.
For context, 2,000 Ugandan shillings is less than $1, right? But I think back then the value was high.
That was around 99.
Oh my God,
99 2,000 around there.
Damn.
So I remember I had to sponsor like a lunch home.
Oh my God.
That like this money buy us meat. And so I had that burning desire for art. And this pushed me until when I go to campus. I always tell people, sad story, but I don't regret. I dropped out of campus when I was doing my bachelor's degree. I had to go and pursue like fashion and design. So coming back to your question, like looking at where I was raised or where I come up from. I remember one time I was trying to look into cultural pieces and then cultural concepts and how we can develop them, because at school we're challenged to come up with a unique outfit, a unique wear. And then talking to my parents and talking to a few people, like they'll tell you, our people used to wear leaves, they used to use sacks, like the hides, but then there's nothing clear.
Yeah.
But then to me, I look at it as a huge opportunity because now what I'm looking at is my work should have an impact. At the end of the day, like what is going to happen? Like just like you said, we don't have proper documented pieces that I would refer to.
Yeah.
And it has given me the opportunity to be among the pioneers. So there are few cultures that have put their cultural outfits together that we can refer to. The most popular right now in South Sudan is the Mundari. Even just like looking at the print alone, you can already know.
Exactly.
So what I usually do is I don't only limit myself to South Sudan, but I look at Africa at large, because there's a huge misconception when people are talking about African wares, anything related to a Chitenge print or the Ankara print, they feel like this is African. But then sometimes I was challenging someone, like originally, coats or blazers are not our wares. But then when you just pick the Kitenge print and then you use it to make this something, they say that is an African wear. But I'm looking at the ancient way of dressing. So I look at Africa as a wear, as a whole, and then I borrow ideas. So whenever I'm coming up with my concepts, I make sure I borrow different designs from different cultures, and then I pick one or two things. There's one book that I read and I liked so much that's still like an artist.
Actually, there's a really popular saying that imitation is the best form of flattery. I don't know if that is the correct word. I'm paraphrasing here, but I think that, like, for artists, like if you're able to imitate the work of someone and steal some concept, make it better, I feel like it's sort of like a credit to the original creators. Like, I think this is beautiful. I want to apply it to my context, but in this way that fits me.
This takes us back to when you're introducing the question before you asked about like talking. We don't have like those icons. So if you look at fashion right now, most of the designers are going back to the old days, like at the 70s, the 60s. That's why if you see the bell-bottom trousers are coming back in style.
Yeah.
So a lot is happening. So what usually happens, I always tell my colleagues, it's not bad to imitate, just like, let me use your word, to imitate just like what someone has done. But then how are you going to make it either better or make it look different? To a point that when I look at Jackson, I feel like, I think I saw this sweater somewhere, but it's not the one. You know, like that is the whole concept of art. Yeah.
Exactly. That is beautiful. My other question that I wanted to ask, and this show is called the Impact Radar. And for me, one thing that I'm looking for is like, how do you create impact within your domain or within the space you're working in?
Yeah.
And I love the Kakwa piece that you have made, but I think it was received with mixed. There was mixed reception, right? There were people like me who were like, "What the heck? Can I use that for my music video?" And then there were people like, "Okay, this is not a Kakwa." Really, I don't know what the question is, but people think this is not very Kakwa. Can you like really give us context about these arguments, this but two sides, right? Like the people who are in favor who say, "Oh, this is wonderful." Like, why do you think that is important? But also, I really want to see how you understand the negative sort of criticism that you get for the pieces that you've worked on.
Okay. Thanks so much. You know, I would say that is one of the biggest piece that I've made so far in like my whole career. It took me about 6 to 7 years.
Oh my God.
Like putting the whole concept together.
That's a whole baby. Nursery school going child.
So I made sure that the first concept, I have to keep it. Like the first prototype I've ever made. I don't think I'm going to sell it. For reasons I want to keep it there for history purposes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, just like you did say, people received it differently. There were those that were excited, and then there were those that were like, just like you were saying, no, I think there's something missing. Because when I was getting down to understand like why the negative critics, majority of the guys were telling me, initially the Kakwa people were wearing, it's called doke, more like a wrapper, looks like a pamper. And that was what they thought I should depict. But then on the other hand, what I'm trying to look at is I want something that is wearable in our day-to-day life. Because now it's not a big deal like modifying the doke, what the people used to put on. But the question is, are people going to use it in their daily lives?
Exactly.
So like that is the big picture I'm looking at. I'm looking at a kind of outfit or a costume that will be accepted by the community, and then at the end of the day, it will be used in our day-to-day life. So I took everything positive because if I am to weigh, I think the positive comments were more than the negatives.
Exactly.
And then the few people who were so negative with passion, I understood, like because they were looking at me like this is a kid, like what is it trying
what does
to do?
it know?
So you know, like they're trying to tap into the legacy.
Exactly.
They want to have like an influence so that when history is being told, they'll be like so and so contributed.
Exactly.
Because majority of the persons that I spoke to, one of them is my dad. He's late now, and then like a few other people like who do not mind so much about their names being attached to this outfit. But then majority of the people that were so negative were those that wanted their names to be attached.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, people are still asking.
So for me, I think what you really put that beautifully, because I think when you create art, it doesn't matter what format it is. When you're doing, whether you're doing music, poetry, or you're doing clothes like you talked about, there's always going to be like feedback. And that feedback is going to come in two ways. It's going to be negative. There's going to be positive ones.
Yeah, sure.
The question is, how do you filter and process it to the benefit of your work and your future creation? So I thought that was really well put. My other question is, just back to the point of impact. How do you, like, your basically your ideas you're creating, you're throwing them on the wall, right? My question is, how do you make them stick, right? Are you working with cultural organizations within the South Sudan context? Are you working with government or whatever and so on to just like showcase these pieces of work that you're creating and to start the conversation about like how do we preserve and ensure that our culture survive beyond the dockers that you talked about earlier?
Well, For now, I would say I am getting there.
Yeah.
But previously, it had been me and me alone, like just doing my pieces for the love of it, and then just throwing it out there. But then I got to understand like the need to work with majority of these stakeholders, because me alone I cannot do. Like give an example of South Sudan. We have like 64 tribes within South Sudan, and majority of these tribes are being represented in a way of dressing differently. So me as Gifted alone, I cannot carry all this on my own. So I thought of working with different stakeholders already, though previously I've not been doing that. So that is one of the reasons. That's why you did mention about an event that I did like late last year at the end of the year. So that was one of the reasons, because now I feel like there should be something that can remind people of it, or like there should be something that people can always look into. So what I do right now, my work is I put so much emphasis on creation of these pieces, because we have a lot of, I cannot say I'm the only designer in the country, but then a majority of the people like have different inspirations. Majority of the guys are just there because I think they're there for the money. But then like at the end of the day, what are you going to be remembered for? Because like as a fashion designer, I don't want to live and die just like any ordinary tailor. But then I want to live a life that will influence the next generation. So right now I'm trying to work with different artisans. Like I was telling a colleague one time, I'm so crazy about beads, but I'm not good with the beadwork. So I'm trying to see how I can work with different people who do like a beadworks, and then because I also have concepts that I need to put out there, because some of these concepts are not 100% like borrowed from the different cultures within the country, but then like I borrow and then I add something to it. So then, which means I need to find someone who can understand like my language, so that they can interpret whatever thing that I have in my mind in the picture. So I'm looking at working with different artisans within the country. I've already started engaging with one national organization that is 100% into cultural preservation through MDD, and I'm so happy for that partnership. And then other stakeholders are coming in. So I believe within this year there's going to be a huge milestone.
Dope. So talking about beats, I think that there's also like so much heritage, right? Very locally owned heritage, locally owned knowledge about beadwork. I don't know, I still remember this when we were kids. There used to be these trees, they grow around swamps and stuff like that, and they have like those little beady seeds, and we would go get them, pierce through them to open holes for like strings and wear them. And so I think there's a lot of like beauty in that I think the South Sudanese can still explore. My next question is that, so like if you look at South Sudan, right, we're exporting a bunch of things recently, right? I think in terms of sport, our Bright Stars, the basketball team is doing amazing. We're in the World Cup. We went to the Olympics. We almost beat the USA, the Giants. That was amazing. But I think there's an industry that is sort of, I don't know, is overlooked or underlooked. We are exporting a lot of models. Right? To the global market. My question is like, is that an opportunity for local fashion designers for your work to get international recognition? Or what do you think is the current challenge? Do you think the government is not paying enough attention to this industry? How is it regulated? How do we know who's who? Like how does your industry interact with like the models that we're putting out globally?
Thanks so much. I want to borrow like one of the words that you use. I feel like the government or the stakeholders are not paying so much attention to it. Because if you move around the country right now, almost everyone's mind is into oil, like the mineral resources and stuff. And, one thing that impressed me last year when they launched the animal census, and then they're like, globally, South Sudan has the largest animal migration, like the whole world.
Oh my God.
Like, people are like, how? Like, I remember I put on my status and someone was like, I thought South Sudan is a desert. So there's a lot that is not being is not being utilized. So talking about the fashion or the modeling industry, yeah, it's true. A lot of, I would say, the biggest models in the world currently are from South Sudan.
Of course.
But then it's so heartbreaking that they don't go through agencies within the country. Majority of them come either to Uganda or to Nairobi, and then they go to maybe Paris or the States and stuff, and then they're doing great there. Funny enough, majority of them, when they go out, like they change their nationality, like they don't come back home. But then it's not a big deal. Me, I look at it as an opportunity, because one, like they still carry the banner of the country.
True.
And then like a lot of model agencies had been coming to Juba, like to do scouting. Why? I say I look at it as an opportunity, not a problem. And I feel these agencies should be welcome, because right now, within Juba, I think we could be having less than 5 like authentic model agencies. Majority of the people just feel, okay, I've been an ex-model. I don't want to model anymore. Let me bring people under me. But that is not how it works. So I'm looking at it as an opportunity, because I'll give you an example. When I had like the Roots and Culture Reimagined event, there were 2 international models that came.
Awesome.
One came from China, one was from Paris.
You're doing well.
And so when this guy looked at the pieces, they were like, bro, if only you were in Paris, you would be one of the rich guys right now. So it's kind of I don't know how to put this, but then it was more of an encouragement. I felt super excited. I was like, so if this is what is happening,
because you can see the potential in your work,
then which means like the future is bright. So which means we just have to work extra harder. But then if only like that is looked into, I believe like this would be a very huge opportunity, because like government benefits from taxes. So some of these these agencies are not taxed. All you just have to do is process a visa for me. I'm going to work for you, and these guys are working through. Working on the biggest runways. Like there's a lady that currently is within Juba. This lady every year goes to Paris and she works for the Louis Vuitton, the Gucci and stuff, like big brands. But then like says within the country. So I look at that as a huge opportunity. Just that we need the right the right channels.
And we make sort of mainstream the industry. That's really nice. I just sort of want to recap this segment with sort of a glance at what are the challenges that exist for you guys as local fashion designers in South Sudan.
The biggest problem right now is we outsource our fabrics, the materials. Like we don't have materials, or like we don't have proper factories or industry within the country that do manufacture. So you find out that sometimes the kind of fabrics that we get are not up to the standard. And then like secondly, like if you want a very good kind of fabric, it's expensive. So and then like it comes down to how the tax system of the country is. Like sometimes startups suffer because you're taxed heavily. At the end of the day, you may just be working for rent and then the taxes. You cannot grow. But majorly those are the two challenges that I would say.
You've been dressing superstars, like you. I don't know if we should start with the controversies, but you dressed High Life Avenue for a show, and the whole internet, the whole internet was talking. Tell me about that.
Well, so it's funny. Let me look at
just like they told me you dressed them in mosquito nets.
No. So here's the whole thing. I remember it was what was the album name?
I think
it was Ali Joma's Love and Fame. Love and Fame. So by then I was working with the Hard Life, and then they were invited to perform during the Love and Fame. So then we sat back. I was like, guys, you know what? I'm pretty sure Ali Joma is going to put on his shoots, and then so the whole concept is I wanted like
contrast
the boys to steal the show. And we sat down. I like working with Linus so much. He's a very creative guy. So we sat with Linus, we started brainstorming, and then he was like, Gift, you know what, just do your thing. So we went down to the market and decided to buy these wrappers for women. They call it top there. So I got this, and then just made sure that we did something so crazy. And I was so happy that at the end of the day, we achieved the goal.
Yeah.
Like I remember that whole week, or like close to a month, instead of people talking about the album launch, they were talking
We're
about
talking
the
about,
highlights
yeah.
and then the outfit. And I would say that was the spark for me, because I'd been working in Juba underground. No one knew the work I was doing. But then from there, people started asking,
talking,
who did this? And
You started
it drew a lot
entering
of attention.
conversations, yeah.
So I think that was the whole thing.
Yeah. So this is a perfect segue for us to talk about music. There's been like recent things that I want to chat about, like when it comes to music. And you sit in a very interesting position, right? You're a fashion designer. You're also a record level exec, right? You work for,
For
I
Top
think,
Lev.
a top level, right? And one of the biggest record label in South Sudan, that is led by Ali Joma, the artist you was talking about earlier. I want us to start with the controversies first, right?
Okay.
There's been an issue online. Nicky Prince made a post that this year he preached that South Sudanese support music equally, right? Because concerts recently have been flopping, and they've also been attended along the lines of like ethnic tribes, communities. Like, oh, a Dinka's performing, Dinka's go there. A Bari is performing, Bari's go there. The idea that South Sudanese just love music for music and go to concerts is non-existent. It's not like here in Uganda. My question is, there's been back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Between different people. Many men had a different opinion. It's like, yo, people outside in Torit or in Bor or whatever sing Yaude and they love your music regardless. So like, let's think about how we unite the industry. But for me, it still doesn't address the root cause of the problem. The problem here is concert attendance and shows flopping. For you, what do you think is the reason why shows are flopping? Like, you can be personal about this. It's your opinion. It's not tied to top level.
It's all right. Thanks so much. So one of the main reasons as why I feel there'd been that kind of division in the industry, it's because like the creatives themselves create that. Like you find that like sometimes when you look at performances, like or else like live along performances, even like from if you follow down from their social media handles, their way of life, like there are very few artists that want to socialize with everyone from all the 64 tribes of South Sudan. And then like when it comes to events, you find that like let me talk about the organizers, like they sideline some of these guys. Like I feel like, okay, me, I'm an Equatorian. I want to do a show for Hard Life. I have to find the persons that are close to Hard Life. The people that are going to maybe accept to perform for free. And then you find out that from the Equatorian region, we have a lot of guys that they're coming up. They want to feature in the charts, and like they'll want to do everything for free. And then I feel like, okay, if I cross to the other side, like it will be a little bit hard. Maybe these guys are going to ask for a lot of money. And then secondly, I don't know how this came up. There's a kind of mentality that venues are divided within Juba. Like if you organize a show within this Juba, this category of people are going to come. If you go to this one, like so it's already painted. And then it's like a majority of the artists make it so obvious that artists from the Equatorian region or like from the Dinka side, they don't want to come and do shows in a space that is called like for Equatorians. So it still gets down to there. But then like sometimes also the question is, what do we preach on our social media handles? Like we don't engage so freely. I think one of the persons that had been trying so much to cut across both boundaries, like you mentioned, is Many Men. He tries so much, though I feel like his reception is not like how it used to be. Because I sat down with a few guys and then I was asking, when did this whole thing start? Because previously people loved music.
Music,
the times of the Silver X, the time for those of
even Kuzo's clan back then.
the Kuzo's clan. These guys were doing well. But then like I think there's a lot of that gap. And then secondly, like the language that is used in the songs. Because like very few guys use maybe English and then the Juba Arabic, which anyone can relate to. So I cannot sing a whole song in my language and then I accept maybe like a Dinka speaking person to be vibing to it. So like that's already there.
That makes sense.
And then like the last thing to close with, the quality also. the quality of the kind of music, because I remember one time someone challenged me. Was like, "Why are you working with these people?"
Yeah.
And then I was like, "No, I'm doing it for the love. Like as long as like the quality is there, I'll always like I make sure I support." So a lot of guys who share their links with me, few of them I share their work, but then if your work does not impress me, trust me, I'll not do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I just wanted to quote an earlier thing that you said about halls and concert venues being designated for specific tribes. I think someone gave me a walk down, a walk through. I was like, so Kensbach is Equatorian artist. Freedom Hall, if an Equatorian artist, you put your show there, the Equatorians will not even come. No, but like I like the two last points you made, one about language, because I feel like, and I think as music grow, which is a good thing, you're seeing more artists being comfortable expressing themselves in their own languages, right? We're hearing more Kakwa, we're hearing more Dinka, and I think I actually want to talk about this later, but Ali Joma is one of the, I think, groundbreaking artists. I think he broke the barrier of communities.
Sure.
Right? Like we're listening to Nyam Flower, we're listening to Shaluk. I don't know a word in the song. Right? But it's
You just mentioned
and it's still Shaluk is Shaluk. But the rest of the song but also like we hear artists like Franco, right? Groundbreaking, pushing the music beyond like the communities that they come from. Now, I want to talk about what makes a good artist. And I think you are in the right position to answer this because you work for a record label, which means that you guys are always on the lookout for talents, right? And I think of recently, the idea of talent has sort of shifted, right? So there's talent that's like someone sings well, someone knows music, they're creative, their lyrics are mind blowing.
Yeah.
And then there is buzz, artists that are buzz sort of driven, right? They create a lot of noise. Their followership is blowing through the skies, and they make more waves and sound and noise on the internet compared to actual artists. I don't want to name names, right?
Yeah.
But these days, good music is getting oversaturated by buzz and noise and stuff like that. How do you find a good artist?
Well, there are a few things that I first look into.
Yeah.
Because now, how I defined a very good artist, first of all, is an artist that understands like the audience, his or her audience.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, if you don't have the right audience, then however good your artist, you just dump it to waste. So I look at someone who understands like his or her audience. That is one, and then secondly, knowing the need. Like what does like your audience need, and how are you going to deliver? So those are three things that I look into, and then like of course all this must be coupled with the talent. You must be talented when it comes to like a lyrical delivery. You should be strong. When it comes to vocal, you should be powerful. And then like understanding like your whole art, like that is how I would define like a
good artist.
A good artist.
Okay, I was gonna ask you a question, and then in my head it just rang that okay, this is gonna be controversial, so I'm gonna try to skip it. But I still want to talk more about music and promotion of music.
Okay.
And right now, right back then, if you produce a song, you put it on the radio, right? You push it hard on the radio. You produce a music video for it. It does well online. There's word of mouth, like people hear good music, and the music basically goes from one person to another person.
Yeah.
Back again, right now, there's what they call the attention economy, right?
Yeah.
You want to try as much as possible to retain the attention of people through stunts, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes people pretend they're falling down from buildings just so that people can pay attention to them. I've seen people create beefs or fights online, even South Sudanese. And I feel like at this point, the South Sudanese internet is very toxic.
Sure.
Because everyone is fighting at least someone, right? It's like, there was a point I was not fighting someone. I was like, I'm doing something wrong. Do you think that's a very sustainable means to promote music? And also like, talking about that in the context of the image that we have as South Sudanese, right? We've been known as like, violent people, and I feel like that tool, right? That angle is being pushed. That envelope is being pushed online to promote content to drive sales. Do you think that is sustainable? And what are alternatives that people should look at to promote their art?
Well, I strongly would say that is not sustainable.
No.
Because if you look at majority of these songs that are being released or promoted using like beefs online, like it's just for a short time.
Yeah.
Because like your music is just going to trend as long as the beef lasts.
Yeah.
By the time you cease fire, all this comes unto an end, people forget about you. There were a lot of songs that were released out of beef, and then it never took even like about a month or two. It goes off. So it's true. South Sudanese people are being termed as violent or hostile people. And I don't know if that is one thing that most of these creatives want to take. But then me personally, I would say there's a healthy way of beefing, which like you have to plan it very well, and then you must have an end goal.
An end goal.
But then when you look back to how beefs happen within South Sudan,
Last year was nasty.
It gets so personal. You start exposing things that the public is not supposed to know. At the end of the day, that is what people will take you for. So it becomes obvious. Like the artists that I can mention, whenever they start like there's controversies online, I will know they're dropping a song. So it becomes so obvious, and then like after that, within a short time, it ends there. But then like what is the whole benefit? And then like I think one of the things is like that is how most of the artists have decided to feed like the mainstream like within the country. So like that is what they push. So instead of now like blog pages pushing your music, they're just going to be pushing the trust that you're putting at the end of the day. Like your name will be all over, but then when we relate to your stream platforms, you don't have anything. So a better way is, how about you start being you, be yourself. Let your audience accept you for who you are. Understand your audience needs, and then give them like the way they want it. Of course, if you give me like I can mention this. One of the artists that I used not to like here in Uganda is Bebe Cool. But play for me Bebe Cool's
I probably
music.
don't like him even now.
Play for me his music. I'm going to vibe to it.
Exactly.
I vibe to his music, but then I don't like him. So that is it. Like understand what your audience needs. Give them that irresistible sound. Like they always come for it, even without controversies online.
Cool.
I've always used the Hard Life as an example. You will never find these guys in beef, but when they drop their songs, they work out.
What artists or what new artists do you think we should check out? Like you think you looked at their sound, you're like, this is good. I want more people to know about this.
Where?
In South Sudan.
New artists in South Sudan.
You guys, Junubin. We're not
okay.
Look at his brain is buffering. He's looking.
I'm trying to see. There are a lot of artists that are running through my mind, and then like I want to give people a reason, like when you go there, but then I would not mention only one. Because it depends on what kind of sound.
Exactly.
First of all, there are these kids that have been doing so well. Like I like Deli Dat's music.
That is amazing.
He's doing well.
Yeah.
And then like there's Don Kalas. One or two things that I feel if done right for him, he'll be there. And then you yourself. Like I don't know why you're hiding in a shell. I just can't tell. But then, low-key, I am one of your biggest fans.
Thanks, Baba.
Whenever I want to listen to good hip hop, I look out for Jack Shana. And then I listen to your music. But then, like I commented about Don Kalas, one or two things like he will be there. I think for you just need to you need to accept that you're a good artist. Come out because I feel like that is what is holding you. Like. Okay, I may be wrong. You can also correct me.
No. I think that like for me, so I've been doing music, and my approach to music, like over the years since I started, has not been like, I am a musician, I am in this space, I am hungry, I am competing with all of you, and stuff like that. I've been driven with like, I have a story that I want to tell, right? And I basically put out that story in form of music. And I think people who work with me, my siblings, know that I have a bunch of songs, and sometimes I don't release them because at that point I don't feel like that song. Right? Like I write a song about love, positive love, and I don't feel like I'm feeling positive love. So I deprive the people from listening to the song until I feel like, oh, I really need to share this with the world. And so like I'm hoping this year to do two things. One, there are songs that I wrote that were really sad. I want to put them out. I want to put them out as an EP. I think it will be titled "Don't Worry About Me, I'll Be Fine."
Interesting.
And then I will now start sort of dropping songs that people can dance to, because I think I have talked to Nikki Prince. Told me like, dude, maybe like, work on more songs that people in South Sudan would listen to and put on their phones and continue listening to them. Because I do hip hop and the audience for it is really small.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm not going to compromise my style. I'm going to try to merge, right? Put my music and bring the element of dance to it. So that people within the region can enjoy it. But of course, like your point that you made is an accurate assessment. I think I was not serious in the past, but this year, hopefully I can put more effort.
But yeah, so generally, I think that was it.
Yeah.
If someone is to ask me like persons to look out, otherwise if it's like outside the country, then there are a lot more.
Yeah.
There are a lot more. But towards the end of last year, I had a chat with a very amazing team, an emerging record label, Saliam Sala Entertainment.
Oh, okay.
And
is it the best here in Uganda or South Sudan?
I'm yet to understand. But I think they are based in EA.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah, but they have persons within Uganda that they're working with, and they have amazing talents. You love hip hop.
I do.
There's a guy called Badman Casey.
Ooh.
They have Mavoko Miles. Then a little girl called Chucky.
Okay.
You mentioned about Nikki. I shared her songs with Nikki.
Yeah.
Nikki expected a very big person. When we got into details, you were so surprised.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there's a lot of fresh talent out there to look out for.
I have a question, and this will be our final question to wrap up this discussion.
Okay.
The identity of South Sudanese music. This has been a conversation in the media, right? That has been pushed on for, I don't know, people are dragging it on the internet, but also like the big names in the industry, Silver X, WJ. WJ has what they call Yuku music.
Yuku music, yeah.
Silver X has what?
Why am I forgetting?
I even don't know why I'm forgetting. Silver X has some type of music. I think everyone is trying to create an identity for the South Sudanese sound. Now, this question is multifaceted, right? Because in the end, if you look at art and music in the end, it's complex, right? You look at R&B, they came from blues, right? You look at hip hop, it's influenced by dance music, it's influenced by R&B as well. And right now, if I play you a hip hop album by one artist and I play you another hip hop album, like for example, I play you All Red by Playboy Carti, and I play you Graduation by Kanye West, you will not tell me these are hip hop albums, right? Which I mean, the genres of music really are like one of the hardest things to define.
Yeah.
So when people are talking about South Sudanese sound and identity, what are they talking about, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think that identity is?
Talking about the South Sudanese sound identity, I followed the conversation.
Yeah.
And then I felt like it came at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Because literally we're not ready for it. We're not ready to define like our sound, because right now within the country, a lot of guys are doing the Afrobeat kind of music, and then like a lot of guys are doing the zouk, a few guys are doing like a hip hop, and then talk about the R&B, soul music. I think one or two guys. But then what came out, I think. The few guys who wanted to be the flag bearers of this, they just felt like they want to leave a mark.
Yeah, they want to leave a mark. Exactly.
Because I'm trying to remember so hard, like Silver's.
Yeah, Silver did something. He created an album almost with like sounds that were were sort of linked to that idea of his sound. I don't remember it.
I never paid so much
We're
attention
getting old.
So if you listen to the kind of sound that Silver was trying to bring out, and then you listen to Check B Magic song, that is exactly what Silva is trying to do. So it's nothing new.
Yeah.
And then like Check B is so rooted into his culture,
His
which
culture.
is one thing that I like so much about him. That kind of the Lotuko drums,
Lotuko
and then,
drums,
like,
yeah.
it brings out. So I would say right now, generally, we don't have a specific sound that defines like a music or like the type of sound within the country, because if we were to do that, it's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah.
We need to work with a series of producers, because I cannot just wake up that I'm a music producer and then I want to come up with a type of sound. No, Afrobeat was not one man's mind.
Exactly.
Amapiano is not one man's idea.
Yeah.
So like that is one thing. So for now, I would say we don't have any sound that defines like South Sudanese, but we're just trying to get there.
Yeah.
We're like just trying to test each kind of sound and then to identify. Like I was having a chat with one of the artists within the country, and I was like, if you listen to any song produced by Andre, the Kampala producer, you can know he has a touch.
There's a touch.
Going back home, if I listen to a music or a sound that is produced by Linus, there's that one thing that I will know. This is Linus. This is Slaughter. So like for us to come with a sound that identifies like the country, which means we need to work with all the producers, and then we need to look into those native instruments and how they were used, and we can borrow. Like that's the only thing that is going to set us apart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone, that has been Gifted Bless, right, on the Impact Radar podcast. He's a person I've been waiting to have this kind of conversation with for a long time. And I think one of my happiest moments and feelings about this chat is that, we've had conversations like this offline before, and I've always felt like I wish this were recorded, right? So we can put them on the internet for like the world and people to benefit from. But Gifted, I'm finally happy we got to do this.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Cool.
Yeah.